G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, as promised, I will be giving you my explanation for my reasonings behind my 17-man New South Wales Blues predicted squad for 2023. Now, if you haven't checked that video out, head over to TikTok, AdosTheGreat, and yeah, check that one out. But I'll let you know what my squad is. We'll do it section by section. So backs, halves, forwards or front rowers, second rowers, and bench. So let's go over it, starting with the backs. Now, as you can see here, in my backs, I've named James Tedesco, Brian To'o, and Joseph Suwali. Now, I know a lot of people on TikTok were a bit confused as to why I took Suwali over players like Daniel Tupou and Josh ADDO-CARR. Now, my reasoning behind this is one, Joseph Suwali is a lot younger than both of those players, and two, he can be just as influential as both of those players as well. Now, Joseph Suwali is a very similar sort of player to Daniel Tupou. He's tall, he's good under the high balls, he is pretty quick, he's very powerful, and he can make meters out of nearly nothing. So I just think that New South Wales now should be going for a few younger players in the team as well. I think Joseph Suwali could be there for, maybe 8 to 9 years. So getting him into the team now could definitely help build that chemistry with the rest of the team. And I think that's the direction the Blues need to go with Joseph Suwali. James Tedesco obviously picks himself, as does Brian To'o. Now, we'll talk about the centres. So the centres I've picked are Latrell Mitchell and Tom Trebojevic. Now, there are a lot of options for centres. I did see some people say keep Burton in the centres, put Whiten in the centres, but realistically, who are you going to take out for them? Like Latrell Mitchell and Tom Trebojevic are just, they bleed blue. When they come into the Origin arena, they do not lose. Statistically, I believe that neither player has lost a series when they've played, so that is insane. And yeah, I think that the Blues need to go that direction for their centres, and I believe that um, Brad Fittler will do that. So there's not too much more to sort of talk on with the centres. I think they're pretty much set in stone as well. But over to the halves. Now, the halves pairing was a little bit controversial. As you can see here, I've named Matt Burton and Nathan Cleary. Now, I know a lot of people were a bit annoyed that I dropped Jerome Luai. A lot of people were actually really supportive of my 17-man squad as well. So I appreciate, your support from that. Like, I was overwhelmed with the amount of people that agreed with my team. A couple said that I should be the New South Wales coach. Yeah, that is never going to happen. I do not want to do that. I'm a Queenslander through and through, but yeah, look, I just think that there's definitely moves to improve the Blues side. So Matt Burton, for me, needs to be in that team somewhere and not off the bench. He needs to be starting, and I think the best position for him is 5'8" next to Nathan Cleary. We have seen, back at the Panthers, Nathan Cleary and Matt Burton have a successful combination. Obviously not in the halves, but Matt Burton was playing centre, and they did share kicking duties. Now, I think Jerome Luai is an absolutely amazing player. I think he's awesome, and I do not think he should be dropped. However, I just think that you can't take out Matt Burton and he can't go into the centres because you've already got two freaking demigods in the centres. So I do believe that Matt Burton takes Luai's spot. I think that's probably the best move for the Blues going forward. Those bombs just give Queenslanders nightmares. So I think that is the move going forward for the Blues. Unfortunately, a good player in Jerome Luai does miss out, but I really think the Blues move forward with this half pairing. All right, on to the forwards. Now, this one could be a little bit controversial as well, but I think these two will be the forwards going forward for the Blues. So the front rowers, I've got Jake Trebojevic and Payne Haas. I think without a doubt these two need to be in the Blues side. They have to be starting. I don't see them coming off the bench. I just think these two are they're both capable of playing big minutes. Jake is capable of playing 80 minutes. Payne can probably get pretty close as well. So I just think these two really need to start defensively. Jake Trbojevic is probably one of the best forwards in the comp defensively, and Payne Haas offensively is probably one of the best forwards. So they both complement each other so well. So I just think that these two need to be starting for the Blues. I have gone Damien Cook at dummy half. It could be a little bit of South's bias coming out of me. But I know AdosTheGreat, he's younger. I don't think he's younger by all that much, to be honest. I'm not too sure. I didn't check age before doing this one, but I just think Damien Cook, for one, defensively, I'd say arguably he's the best hooker in the game defensively. He misses like next to no tackles. I'm sorry, I didn't want to look at stats or anything on my phone, but you know what? I'll do it on the computer. Let's just jump over quickly to NRL. So let's just look up Damien Cook. I just want to see his tackle percentage because I believe that he is one of the. I think he's the best defensive. Look, 691 tackles made this year, right? That was in 15 appearances. So if we do quick maths, so what did I say that was? 691 divided by, I say 15. That's 46 tackles a game, right? So he tackles at 97.3 efficiency. So he doesn't miss many tackles at all. Let's just have a look at AdosTheGreat. Now, I know Appy is probably slightly better offensively than Cookie. Obviously, Damien Cook can be explosive, especially out of dummy half and on the back of quick play the balls. But like if we look at this, Appy's had 16 appearances. He has made 678 tackles, so they're not too far off each other. But Damien Cook had 97.3 tackle efficiency. AdosTheGreat has 91.9. So Cookie his tackle stick. I think defensively he's just an absolute beast at dummy half, and I honestly believe that the Blues need to go with Damien Cook. That's just my opinion. You guys might see it as bias, but just defensively, he puts in a load of work, and that's what you need from a dummy half, as well as those, getting out of dummy half, making those meters, doing all that. Cookie can do that, but defensively, I just think he's an anchor for the Blues, and I think that they need to stick with that. All right, second rowers and lock. So my second rowers are obviously Liam Martin and Cameron Murray. Both of them, I'd say, are probably the future second rowers for the Blues, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Obviously, Isaiah Yeo is also the lock. Now, I did see a few people on my TikTok video say Olakau'atu should be the second rower, Liam Martin should be out. I don't agree with that. I just think, while I do agree that there shouldn't be as many Panthers players in there as there was this year, I just think that Liam Martin is such a good player. I do think he's slightly underrated. And I think him, Murray, and Isaiah Yeo in the back row is going to be lethal next year. I think that's the way the Blues have to go. All right, now onto the bench. So I reckon probably 2 out of the 4 off the bench you'd say are 100% locked into play next season. Those two would be Angus Crichton and Junior Barlow. Both of those players they're amazing players. They do very well, with what they need to, I guess. So I think those two will 100% be locked in to that bench role or those bench roles. Jack White, and there's a few players, that could be in talks for that number 14 jersey. Matt Burton could be one if they stick with Jerome Luai. Jerome Luai could be one if they go with Matt Burton. You've also got players like Nico Hines, Ryan Pappenhausen. There's so many players that could take that 14 jersey. Siosifa Talakai, I doubt he'll get another run, but that's a possibility. Stephen Crichton, like there's so many players that can get that number 14 jersey, but I just think Jack Whiten deserves it. He was by far the Blues' best player in game one, in my opinion, and I just think that he's earned the right to that number 14 jersey. I think that they should go with him going forward, so that is why I've got him in the number 14. And finally, my last bench player, that's Jordan McLean. Now, Jordan McLean is very similar to Gerbo in the fact that he is defensive minded. So again, I'm going to look up stats because I want to see like his tackle efficiency because I know he's a workhorse. Jordan McLean is a workhorse. Um, 16 appearances this year, 357 tackles, so he doesn't make that many, but he also tackles at 97% efficiency. That's insane. Now let's look over at Jake Trebojevic, who is probably one of, if not the best defensive forward in the game. He tackles at 95.6%. So like you've got to say Jordan McLean definitely deserves a spot in this side. Like I know people say he's not the right player, but honestly, I think he's an absolute gun and deserves to play. I really do. And it was heartbreaking what happened to him this year. You know, he was so excited to get that chance, to get that opportunity. He actually runs for 116 meters a game, where Jake only runs for 86 as well. So, look, I do think that Jordan McLean definitely deserves to be back in this side again, whether you guys do or not. And that's completely up to you. I guess if you'd made an argument for who should be there, there's several players that could take that spot. Jacob Saifidi, Daniel Saifidi. I think David Clemmer is always overlooked and underrated. He is such a vital part of that Blues team when he plays as well. I think Keon Koloamatangi could be a good inclusion as well. There's so many players: Regan Campbell-Gillard, Ryan Madison, Tariq Sims. Like there's just the Blues have so many choices to pick from. But yeah, guys, that is going to wrap it up from me. So, guys, if you have enjoyed this one, leave it a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps the growth of the channel. Also, if you're not followed to me over on TikTok, head over there. Follow me on there too. We have a lot of fun over there. I do heaps of NRL content. But yes, guys, that is going to wrap it up from me. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm not too sure when this one's going to drop. Probably Friday afternoon, maybe Saturday morning. Stay tuned for it, though. Thank you all so much once again. And as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.